Carolyn, nice to see you.
Hi, how are you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
Great, great. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. Where are you coming in from today?
I'm in Brussels.
Oh, well, well, thank you very much for doing this and accommodating time zones. We are, I think, covering every time zone globally at this point. So, Carolyn, I'm just going to give us an intro here, and then I'm going to pass it over to you to tell the story.
Sure.
So FendX is a nanotechnology company focused on developing both film and spray coatings to protect surfaces from contamination. The lead product under development is Repel Wrap Film. It's a protective surface coating film that you'll hear about shortly due to its repelling properties, prevents the adhesion of pathogens, and reduces their transmission on surfaces prone to contamination. The spray nanotechnology is being developed to reduce contamination on surfaces by repelling and killing pathogens. Company is conducting research and development activities using its nanotechnology in collaboration with industry-leading partners, including McMaster University. The company has an extensive worldwide license to its technology and its IP portfolio from McMaster, including both film and spray coating nanotechnology formulations. Today, you're going to be hearing from FendX's President, CEO, and Director, Dr. Carolyn Myers. With that, Carolyn, I'll pass it over to you.
Nice recap, Alyssa. Anyway, it's really nice to be here. I'm Carolyn Myers. As Alyssa said, I'm the CEO of FendX. And during my presentation, I may make forward-looking statements. You probably saw on the first slide that we are public. We're trading on the CSE as well as on the OTCQB. And these statements might be subject to risk or assumptions. And so I encourage you to refer to the previous slide, which is a forward-looking statement. And any forward-looking statement you get as part of our investor deck, and also visit CEDAR Plus to look at our recent filing of our MD&A. Thank you. Next slide. So as Alyssa said, we are a nanotechnology company, and we're focused on making people's lives safer. And we want to do that by reducing the spread of pathogens on surfaces. And we have two types of coatings that are in development. As Alyssa said, we're collaborating with McMaster. We have other industry partners as well, which I'll talk about. But these films and sprays essentially are being developed to protect high-touch surfaces that are prone to contamination, with the intention on potentially reducing the spread of this contamination from surface to surface and from person to person. Next slide. And the reason we're doing this is because the spread of healthcare acquired infections is a real problem, and it's very difficult to control. And this has been cited by the CDC, by the WHO, and other regulatory medical bodies. And essentially, healthcare acquired infections can be transmitted in various ways. They can be airborne. They can be transmitted through touch or from surfaces, which is really what we're focused on. And pathogens like MRSA, which I'm sure you're familiar with, as C. difficile, another one that I'm sure you're familiar with, are two potentially lethal pathogens that can be transmitted by touch. And in general, in the US, more than 99,000 people die annually from a healthcare acquired infection. And this is not COVID. COVID is completely separate. These are infections that either the elderly, those that are somewhat immunocompromised, or those that have had surgical procedures and are compromised may get, and potentially may die from. And part of the reason for that is because most of these lethal pathogens are antibiotic resistant, which means that there are really no antibiotics that can fight against these infections, and it really is the body that has to fight against them. So we are hopefully contributing to a worldwide effort to control and reduce the spread of some of these potentially lethal pathogens on surfaces. Our technology is licensed from McMaster University. We have a worldwide exclusive license to do two different technologies, one for our spray and one for our film. And what's unique about our technology is that the surface, which is the nano coating, actually repels everything, essentially everything. The things we're most interested in, though, are bacteria and viruses. And as I mentioned, because we really want to reduce their spread. What McMaster discovered, and we have since worked with them on, is that bacteria and viruses essentially can't stick to the surface of our coatings, whether it be the spray or the film. And as a consequence, they can't divide. And if they can't divide, then they can't spread. And this is our hypothesis, which has led us to show that we can reduce the spread of these bacteria and viruses from surface to surface. Our lead product that's in development is called Repel Wrap Film. It was developed, the formulation was developed by McMaster. We've since reformulated and progressed this product to the point where we have now transferred it to our manufacturing partner, Dunmore, who is a worldwide recognized film producer in the United States, not too far from me, actually, about 30 minutes from my home. And they are working on the assessment of being able to scale up the film or the formulation. What they've been able to achieve so far is to confirm that they can adapt the formulation to their commercial lines. And so we're pretty excited about this because now they're gearing up to do a test run on their commercial lines. So it'll be automated to confirm that they can actually produce this film. The films that are produced from this run will be tested to ensure that they have the repelling properties that the McMaster films had. And once we've achieved that, then we will move on to the commercial manufacturing phase, sign an agreement with a third-party manufacturer. And if all goes well, we anticipate potentially being able to launch a film in Canada in mid-2024. Next slide, please. What's really exciting about our technology is that it has a number of potential market applications. Obviously, healthcare is a key one for us because that's where a lot of these infections start. But there are many other high traffic industries that have a lot of high touch points that are also prone to contamination. And some of these bugs can find their way onto these surfaces as well. So we are assessing offices, sports and entertainment, transportation, schools, and a number of other verticals that we have a potential to protect the surfaces. And that will be with both the film and the spray. We have a very experienced team. We're clearly entrepreneurial. I'm very strategic, focused, and very visionary. My COO, Andrea Mulder, is very operational. Between the two of us, we are so synergistic and really have advanced the company from what was a formulation at McMaster to now a film that is gearing up to go through an intermediate manufacturing run at Dunmore. So we're pretty proud of what we've achieved so far. And we've in-licensed the spray technology, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But in addition to Andrea and myself, Rose Zanuck is part of our team. She is our CFO, has tremendous experience in finance as well as capital markets, was with Wolverine Securities for a number of years, has been with companies from when they were private to becoming public, and has been instrumental in getting us to where we are in terms of being a reporting issuer. Just a teeny bit about my background. I live in the United States in New Jersey. I have worked for large cap pharmaceutical companies most of my career in very senior level positions. I have been led and been on teams to launch more than 35 products in the US and globally. I've done more than 50 M&A licensing transactions. I've also been the president of 2 pharmaceutical companies, one of them revenue generating. And while I was the president, I grew EBITDA 25% year over year. Andrea as well has a significant commercial background and has been very successful in launching products in Canada. And what's really important to note about our senior team is that we're all women. So we're pretty proud of that too. And third, we're generating a pipeline of products using our technology. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about that in a minute if you want to go to the next slide. Here's our capital structure. Our share price is, it says September 8th, but it is, as of today, is 30 cents, which is the price that we were at when we became a reporting issuer. Shares outstanding, 52 million, market capitalization, 16 million. And to date, we've raised a total of 6 million in cash. And I have to say that I'm pretty proud of our capital structure. It's tight and it's simple. Those of us in management and the early investors are also subject to escrow or lockup for an 18-month period, which just is a testament to the fact that we are dedicated to making FendX tremendously successful. Next slide. So here's our growth outlook. As I mentioned, we do have a pipeline. We are looking at line extensions to repel wrap film, which are repel and kill films. We're also advancing the spray technology, which is a little earlier stage than repel wrap film. But what is interesting about the spray is when you take the prototype of the spray and you spray it onto a surface, it essentially creates a film similar to repel wrap. And that surface, which is the nano surface, has the same repelling properties as repel wrap film. But in addition to that, it also kills any residual bugs on the surface. The reason I really like the spray as an addition to our pipeline is because it may provide the potential for ease of use. Our repel wrap film will be applied to flat surfaces and it will have an adhesive backing, whereas the spray can be applied to a number of other surfaces. And in addition, we do see the potential for expanding our opportunities beyond the ones I talked about, healthcare and other high-touch industries. The spray may be able to get us beyond that. And last, we're also exploring covering medical devices with our nanotechnology, with a focus on catheters. You may know that long-term indwelling catheters are subject to occlusion or occlusion. And those occlusions are essentially due to bacteria forming colonies or blood forming blood clots. What McMaster has shown early on, and we plan to further this development, is that when you coat these plastics that they use for catheters with our technology, bacteria colonies do not form and blood clots do not form. And so we believe that this has the opportunity to be advanced into a medical device or catheters that may provide better patency than the catheters that are currently on the market. From a licensing M&A perspective, again, an area near and dear to my heart, we have a number of companies that have shown interest in wanting to partner with us. I hadn't mentioned this, but our nanotechnology has won awards as being tremendously innovative and very different. And so a number of large companies are interested. They either have their own products or they're interested in exploring product development with us, which would obviously add to our portfolio. Again, I'm a strong licensing M&A person, and so we are actively looking at potentially bringing in complementary products, technologies, or companies within the infectious disease space that we can add to our portfolio. And last, as I mentioned, we are going to launch in Canada the Repel Wrap film, assuming we have success along the commercial path in the next year. But the intention is to also launch Repel Wrap film and any of our potential future products in the United States and other markets. The intention is to use distributors to sell our products in these various markets. That way we can retain our capital to build our portfolios and bring more products to the market. In addition, companies like Dunmore, our current manufacturing development partner, and other manufacturing partners, the intention is to bring in those types of organizations to help us develop as well as manufacture our products for commercialization. So again, we can keep our capital focused on building our portfolio and bringing more products to market. And with that, I'd like to say thank you, and I can take any questions.
Thanks very much, Carolyn. Really appreciate you walking us through that. I'm going to jump into a question that I'm sure is on a lot of investors' minds. We see cleaning solutions and wipes and disinfectant sprays. I've got them all over my house, everywhere. What's the market like for adding this surface coating solution?
So the antimicrobial coating market globally in 2025 is estimated to be 7.6 billion in sales. And part of the reason for that is because there just aren't solutions that work to keep surfaces safe from contamination and its spread. You talked about sprays and things like that. That is the norm. That's what's being used for the most part, but they only last as long as you continue to put them on the surface. And unfortunately, nobody's continuing to put them on the surface to keep them clean. What our product does is once you put it on the surface, it will provide 24/7 protection for as long as that film is on the surface. So we're pretty excited about that. In addition, as I said, the $7.6 billion market is associated with the fact that there aren't good solutions, but there are other antimicrobial films out there. How are we different? We repel. That's the way we reduce the spread. The competitive films, the microbes actually have to touch the surface and they have to divide in order to be killed. And as a consequence of that, there is still the potential that they can be spread because it doesn't happen instantly. In our case, it's instant. They can't attach, they can't divide, and so we see reduced spread that way.
Thanks, Carolyn. 1 minute left, but I want to throw one more question your way. We have a few others I'm going to follow up offline on. So you mentioned product development. You have big plans for Repel Wrap film. Can you talk a little bit about when we anticipate finishing the testing and then getting ready for the commercial scale up?
So the next step is for Dunmore to gear up to do this automated intermediate run. And if the success of that, after we test the films, and we're also planning to test them in real environmental conditions as well to ensure that they maintain their properties. Once we've completed all that and we're ready to move on to the next step, we will be signing a manufacturing agreement with a third-party manufacturer to begin the commercial scale-up of Repel Wrap film. And we anticipate that's going to take a few months of iteration, et cetera. And once we've been able to achieve that, then we need to test those films in the real world, in the various markets that we want to focus on, like healthcare, for example, to ensure that over a period of time, they're actually providing the protection that we've shown in the lab, and we're hoping to show with these intermediate size films that are going to be made in these automated runs with the beta testing sites that we're planning to test with, and, in real world environmental conditions. So that's the next step after we finish this. And if we're successful with all that, then we will be bringing our first product to market in Canada.
Excellent. Carolyn, thank you so much for being here today. If anyone would like to connect with FendX Technologies, please reach out to us directly, and we'd be more than happy to connect you. And please be sure to add the ticker FNDX on the CSE to your watch list. Thanks so much, Carolyn.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice to see you.